What is up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Drive for Show with DFS for Dough here on RotoGrinders. Happy to be with you for another week talking golf in the late winter, early spring type of season. A little bit weird here going on the air. It's still like light outside here in the Midwest, so that's a little bit strange. I'm not really sure what to make of that, but daylight savings time has gone into effect. The kids are on spring break. It's still tax time. It's crazy here in the Van Zuiden household, but happy to be talking golf another week with you. I am Justin Van Zuiden. I've got Derek Farnsworth alongside as usual. Noto, what's going on?
Yeah, I feel you with the busy times. I think this is day 15 of me being a solo parent, so that's been a lot of fun. Our patience for each other is definitely wearing thin, but yeah, we're getting through it. Other than that, the players was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I liked Rory a lot more than Scheffler. But yeah, it was a pretty good event, and I really like it when the players struggle there at the end. It makes for some good TV.
Yeah, tough closing stretch there for sure. Plenty of water hazards. Obviously, the
There, Justin.
What's that?
All right. Well, I think he is frozen, so I'll just go ahead, start recapping. There's obviously Scotty Scheffler ran away with it. Oh, he's back. Now he's not back. So he won by 5 strokes, and the crazy part is he won, by 5 while putting pretty filled average. I think he was T42 in terms of strokes gained putting. So pretty wild finish. He didn't really have to, have many scares there at the end, but got the job done. And Justin's back.
Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yeah. What'd you think of the Scheffler finish there? I was just saying, he won by 5 and he was T42 strokes gained putting. Just wild.
Yeah, it was. And so our producer Steve just mentioned, I think I was coming through just fine and I could hear you. So I'm not sure if there was something on your side or not, but just FYI, in case I freeze again. I don't know. You have to check it out, but I think we're good at the moment. And it's just, I mean, Scheffler pretty comfortable there basically all of Sunday. You thought maybe Min Woo Lee was going to put a charge in, and he, kind of stumbled off the top, and it was just, one of those weeks where Scheffler got it going, and there wasn't anybody to catch him. I mean, that's just wild when you think of, usually when somebody wins by 5, 4, 5, 6 strokes, they're pretty much way up there in every strokes gained category. So that was a little bit strange.
Yeah, great round for him, and yeah, Min Woo Lee won over my heart. That guy's something else. Got a great Australian accent. The mustache needs some work, but yeah, I mean, he's a fan favorite out there. Even though he was struggling, he made the most of his Sunday, being in contention. Made that birdie on 16, and then hit that great approach shot on 17. Was firing up the crowd. I was really a big fan of his, and the way he hits the ball. I mean, he was in a 2-iron carrying at 270. It was pretty incredible. So he's a player to watch moving forward. I think he's going to get in the Masters, and I think he finished top 15 in last year's Masters. So somebody to keep an eye on. Obviously, Hatton with a great finish. Anytime he's in the mix, we've talked about it a lot. He's a lot of fun just because he wears his heart on his sleeve, and hit that great shot on 18 and converted the putt. And then we got to talk about Tom Hoge breaking the course record on Saturday with a 62. He thought he was going to miss the cut. And then afterwards, on Saturday in the post-round review, he said he did it on an empty stomach because they had nothing but healthy food there, and he wanted a cheeseburger. So he didn't end up eating. And then I think Doug Ferguson on Twitter was saying, Hoagie's probably going to have a coach seat riding home because that's just the way he does it. And yeah, Hoagie responded, #21C, with the picture of his knees right up against the seat in front of him on the airplane. So what a great guy, Hoagie. Great story. And yeah, what are some of your other takeaways?
Yeah, lots of carnage last week. Of course, we saw John Rahm there with the withdraw. Rory didn't play very well. Chris Kirk was +4. Matt Kuchar, who had been playing fairly well, was +4. He missed the cut. Davis Riley missed the cut. Vegas, who I kind of liked as a value, missed the cut. Zalatoris made the cut, but basically scored negative points on the weekend. Horschel continues to struggle. So Keegan Bradley with a bad week was another guy who'd been playing really well. So lots of big names, and we talked about it last week. That those you'll tend to see results like that on this course just because there's so much unpredictability. Unfortunately, most of that hit the guys in my snake draft team last week. So I felt pretty confident. Now, Noto wasn't in it. He forgot this over the course of the week, but Noto did not get in the snake draft last week, so he could not see my wonderful roster. And I felt pretty good about it once we got done drafting. But apparently I should not have. So I had 4 miscuts plus Zalatoris, who finished at +8. So I basically had 2 golfers, and my 4 guys that missed the cut were all at +6 or worse. It was a +6, a +8, a +8, and a +12, which is not great, Bob. So dead last, yours truly, in the snake draft. Too bad we're not playing low ball. But producer Devin, not a good week. Dan Kramer, not a good week. So it was just, upside down standings from where, if you reverse them, it's good for me, I guess. But Gerg was the winner, Gasman in second, Daddy Dollars in third in last week's snake draft. We're going to see if Noto remembers to get in this week before we finish up the show. But just one of those weeks where, there ended up being some big names there at the top, but a lot of guys that have been playing pretty well that missed the cut last week too.
Yeah, you mentioned Keegan Bradley. He was one of the more popular guys of the week. Corey Connors is the one that got me in my best lineup. And then, there at the end on Sunday, you basically didn't want any holes remaining there on the last 2 holes because everybody was struggling on 17. I mean, Montgomery made a 7 or an 8. Rose hit in the water. Tommy hit in the water. Aaron Rye made a big number there. And then 18 was obviously playing extremely difficult. So it was one of those things where if you were cashing with holes remaining, you were kind of nervous there. And if you didn't have anybody, you were just rooting for carnage. And that's kind of what I was doing with my showdown lineups. But, fun week. And you guys were talking about the snake draft. It's funny. I went immediately. I was like, man, I forgot who I drafted. And it took me 10 minutes looking through my Draftkings, lineups to see, I didn't get in. So I'll be the first in this week for sure.
Your team still probably outperformed mine, even though you didn't have one. That was just a brutal week for my roster there. But we'll see what we can make of this week. Of course, moving on to the Valspar Championship. I was going to look at so split by wave. So the late players on Sunday averaged 0.4 over par on 17 and about 0.3 over par on 18. So those last 2 holes playing about 3/4 of a stroke over par for those late groups there on Sunday. So if you didn't make hay on 10, 11, 12, 16, it was a tough closing finish there. And not that it mattered for Scheffler, who was 5 clear by the end of it, despite Hoagie's big round and despite Hatton shooting 7 under on Sunday. Anything else from last week for you?
My only other note is that on tough courses moving forward, they're great for Sunday Showdown because so many of the guys at the top of the leaderboard just get 20+% ownership, and nobody outside of the top 20 really ever gets rostered. And you just see so many of these guys fall down in difficult scoring conditions, especially guys that aren't household names. So just something to keep in mind moving forward, and ready to look forward to this week.
How do you balance that though? Because obviously, 1 or 2 of the guys are at the top. At the top, we're going to stay there. Like, how do you balance that mix when you're doing your Sunday Showdown lineups?
So personally, I try to get 2 of the top guys. So I tried to pick the winner and get him in there last week. I hit the lock button on Chef, and then try to pick 1 or 2 guys that are in the top 10 that I think will play well. And then from that point, I just look for chasers down the leaderboard, especially if it looks like the afternoon conditions are going to be a little bit tougher like we saw on Sunday. So I think I ended up Chef and Tommy at the top, and then I went with a bunch of chasers and almost took down the GPP, but Tommy Waterball there at the end cost me.
Well, it's a new week. It's over the hump here this week with the Valspar Championship. So another tough course. Copperhead course at Innisbrook will be your host venue this week. As usual, the host of this tournament with only 144 instead of 156 in the field. Hopefully we don't get like 4 groups backed up on the same tee like we saw a few times last week where you mentioned it. Will we have a cut on Friday night? The answer to that was a definite no, because some of the late groups only got through like 8 or 9 holes on Friday. And I know that, it was a slight issue with weather there on Friday, but they weren't going to finish anyway. So Maybe we can get there this week with a slightly smaller field, but it's another tough course, and that's when the rounds tend to drag maybe just a little bit longer. You get guys thinking over shots a little bit. And one of the rare tournaments here where we have a 2-time defending champ this week. So what do you make of the Valspar here?
Yeah, should be a very difficult test of golf. Last year they had the lowest scoring round or tournament that they had in a long time, and so it sounds like they're going to grow up the rough. They're going to take it from 3 inches to 3.75 inches, and then if you look at the wind, it's going to be 25 mile per hour plus gusts on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with sustained winds above 50 miles per hour. So, yeah, we're going to get another difficult golf course. And the field's not that great, so I wouldn't be surprised to see single-digit under par ended up winning this week. It is a par 71. 7,300 yards doesn't seem that long, but it is pretty long for, if you adjust for par. There are 4 par 5s on the scorecard. And, very narrow off the tee. It's not going to be like your other, Florida courses that it's just like water and, a couple trees here and there. The fairways are tree lined. There is some trouble if you don't hit the fairways. Obviously, I talked about the rough being up. The snake pit's going to be holes 16 through 18. Pretty difficult stretch there. Water's in play on half the holes. The greens here are very small, so they are going to be difficult to hit. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I'm kind of looking for guys that are good on approach and good around the green. I think those are the 2 stats that you really want to focus in this week. You can definitely look at total driving. You can look at, bogey avoidance. You can look at Bermuda putting. But we've seen Paul Casey play well here. This was his, best event on the PGA Tour. He's not a good putter. We've seen Henrik Stenson, not a great putter. He used to be, course history guy here. So you can get it done in a number of ways. But mostly I'm looking at around the green and approach.
This was also the site of the first round leader to miscut for Mr. Bradley.
Okay, yeah.
A while back. It's been a while now. That's been about 7 or 8 years, it feels like. But this was the site of that. So you see some volatility in the scores here as well. There is some water, not as much as what we've seen with some of the other courses here over the last month, but there is some water to be found on this course and some big numbers if you're hitting it in the wrong spots. Runoff areas around the greens can make it tough to chip. So like you mentioned, around the green play can be important. And you do see a lot of long irons here. This is one of the courses where sometimes I'll look at like 175 to 200 yard approach play. You don't see as many wedges here as you see on some other courses because a lot of times guys will not take driver off the tee. So just a few different angles to look at. Obviously, we've got plenty of course history, and so you can look at that as well. Weather looks like it might be a small factor, but it's going to be breezy in Florida all the time. So nothing out of the ordinary. Certainly we can keep an eye on a potential advantage, but too early at this point with us taping this on Monday night as usual to draw any conclusions there. So anything else on the course for you?
No, great call on the long irons, though. More than 65% of approach shots will be from at least 150 yards, and almost 45% will be over 175. So, yeah, I do like that call quite a bit. And shout out to Josh Culp, who, has worked with RotoGrinders in the past. I don't know if he's done any shows with us, but I saw his tweet today about Keegan Bradley. So he's finished 6th or better at the end of the first round of this event in 5 of the last 6 years. So if you want a first round leader bet and then
Isn't that crazy?
Then a potential miscut bet after the first round, hit Keegan.
Then it must have been one of those 6, probably the farthest back of the 6 where he imploded in the second round. All right, let's go ahead and start digging in. We don't have quite as strong of a field this week compared to last couple. This event doesn't have the elevated status or whatever the heck they're calling that with the upped events this year. So not quite as much thump at the top, but we do have Justin Thomas. We do have Jordan Spieth. We have the 2-time defending champ in Sam Burns. Curious on your thoughts on him this week. And then Matt Fitzpatrick, who's been very hit or miss over the last month or so at your 10K plus golfers this week. So not as much to love at the top, but what do we make of these guys here at the top 4?
Yeah, from a modeling perspective, JT's kind of head and shoulders above the rest of the field for me. I'm not sure about the RotoGrinders model, but I'd imagine that's the same as well. He just hasn't been very good on and around the greens lately, and typically he's very good around the greens. He has gained 6 and 5.2 strokes tee to green the last 2 starts. So I don't mind going to JT. I think he deserves to be more than a 10-1 favorite. I think, he's the class of the field. So he's going to be my favorite. Speed's been playing a lot better. He did win here in 2015. I'm not necessarily chomping at the bit to play him at 10-6 and probably high ownership. I don't know if you saw last week, but he was going to miss the cut, hit a fan, bounce back in the fairway.
I did see that. Luckiest guy on the face of the planet. Come on. And then, like, after the third round, he got up to, like, 15th.
Yeah, former CEO Cal Spears texted me this morning and said, "Who do you like?" And I told him, and he's like, "Oh, I bet Spieth. You don't like him?" And I was like, "You should have missed the cut." And he's like, "Yeah, that's part of the Spieth magic. He played it right off the guy's knee."
Dude's got more magic than Disney when it comes to that. But yes, I did see that. It was, I don't know. My rosters were horrible last week anyway, so it wouldn't have made any difference.
Yeah.
But just laugh. That never happens to the guys when I need it to happen to them. But Spieth ought to give that fan a nice little stipend there for.
I heard he asked for like 16 tickets to the Masters or something. So he's definitely getting his money worth.
He's going to take the whole family.
Yeah,
extended family.
So I don't mind Spieth, but we'll see on the ownership front. Burns, I'm going to be off of Burns. I know he's won here twice. I know he loves the place. But his stats are just all over the place. He's lost at least 5 strokes tee to green in 4 of his last 9. Like, elite players don't do that. So that worries me. And then you talk about Fitz. The form has obviously been off. But if you look at his long irons, they're a lot better than his wedges. So he's a guy that I don't mind going to as a pivot off of Burns if he's going to be popular.
And Fitzpatrick did finish 5th here a year ago. So I do like that call, assuming obviously he's healthy, which at this point, seemed to indicate that he is, just hasn't been as consistent as what we saw maybe a year ago. We know he can be longer off the tee now, and the long iron, obviously I'm into that kind of long iron narrative this week. So I'm in on Fitzpatrick. We're pretty much in agreement here. Thomas and Fitz, no Spieth, obviously, for me, and I'm not paying that salary for Burns. Who is clearly below the other 3 in terms of our RotoGrinders projections. And he's just got the bump based on that course history. So I am off of him as well. We'll have plenty of exposure to Thomas and Fitzpatrick above 10K. Then the next range, I think, is really interesting because now everybody's going to feel overpriced after the last few weeks when we had weak or strong fields. And so these kind of weaker players that, were priced way down. And now all of a sudden you're going to see guys who have been in the 7Ks the last few weeks in like the 9Ks this week. So we talked about Brian Harmon have been struggling. McCarthy hit or miss. Keegan didn't play well last week, and Justin Rose all the way up at 9,600. These are guys that are going to feel overpriced to a lot of people. So people just say, well, if I'm going to spend up, I might as well get a Spieth or a Thomas and just skip out on this 9K range. Now, Keegan, with his course history, I think will be the one that gets the most attention. Hadwin right now, we're projecting in our early ownership projections as fairly extreme chalk, which surprises me just a bit. But what do you think on these 9Ks?
Yeah, a lot of good plays in this range, but like you said, everybody does feel a little bit overpriced. So you're going to have to, make some decisions there. If you do want to play JT, you could probably play one of these guys in the 9Ks and then, dip down a little bit. But Keegan Bradley's number 2 in the model this week, and it looks like he's number 4 in the RotoGrinders model. So obviously a guy that has played well here in the past, especially in the first round. And I went back and looked at some of his shots in that second round from the players just because he was hitting in the water from like 80 yards out, and he got some bad bounces. So I'm willing to throw that out. I like the course history. I like where his game's trending. He's got a lot of top 10s this year. So he's going to be my favorite. I like Tommy Fleetwood anytime he's in Florida. He's been putting pretty poorly, but he's been one of the better iron players in the field over the last couple months. Rose has been playing well. You mentioned Hadwin being popular. I like him. I actually bet him. He has won here before. He's made 14 of his last 15 cuts. But he's just one of those guys that if he gets you a 225, he's not going to kill you. So I don't mind being a little underweight at 21%. And I will continue to be fading Brian Harmon. Lost on approach in 7 straight. Lost around the green in 5 straight. Can't do it.
Are you guys done? Are you just broken up for good, or maybe you'll see other people for a little while and see how it goes? Or
absence makes the heart grow fonder, or what's the saying? Something like that.
I think it's sad. I don't know, but and I'm blanking on the phrase as well. But neither here nor there, I guess. I don't know. I think you like this range just a little bit better than I do. Like I like Hadwin too, but I'm not going to play him for the reason that you mentioned. He's a guy that's top 15, top 20, top 25. I just don't see the huge win equity potential there with Hadwin. And if he's going to be mega chalk, I can easily pass on him at 9,100 or 9,200 and 21% ownership. Same goes for McCarthy. I do like Keegan a good bit. I always tend to like Fleetwood a bit, but it's not like he's cheap either. And Riley, I'm not on. So I don't know. I think that I just dip down into the 8Ks and get a little bit more exposure to Thomas and Fitzpatrick in the 10s. But got to play maybe somebody in here. I don't know. I don't. It's just that I don't know if it's that they feel overpriced, and I'll grow, with some of them as the week goes on. But as of now, I don't have much interest here in the 9Ks.
Yeah, I would say the only guy that doesn't feel overpriced this week is probably JT, because he's going to be that expensive at some of the majors this year. So yeah, I don't mind that approach if you do want to just load up on JT or Spieth and then kind of dip to the 8Ks. I do like Riley a little bit. We've had this event circle for Riley for 6 months now as the place to play him, and he has flashed a little bit of life recently. So I'll play some Riley. Everybody in the industry has bet him already, so his number is just cratering. I think he's down to like 32 to 1, which is probably a bad number, but I bet him at 40, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet him at 30 if it starts to keep getting down there. That seems a little hot, but then if he wins, then I guess we'll be seeing all the Twitter screenshots from everybody on Sunday. All right, we're dipping into the 8Ks here. Justin Suh has finally started to capitalize on his potential. He's been playing fairly well. Wyndham Clark getting some buzz as well. So all these guys that we've kind of talked about over the past year or so, they're up into the upper echelon of pricing this week with their kind of recent form. And then you get guys that maybe have the track record but haven't been playing quite as well recently, like Gary Woodland, JT Poston. But then it's just kind of the somewhat scuffling veterans mixed with the up-and-coming kind of rising guys. You got Brandon Wu in here. Ben Griffin continues to play well. He faded over the weekend last week, but still had a really solid week for him. So interesting here on whether you go with kind of the rising young guns or with some of the veterans here in the 8Ks.
Well, you got former mortgage loan officer Ben Griffin, who just continues to play well. Just top 30 every single week, it seems like. He's going to be popular, but the models love him. The form's good. He's been very good on Bermuda, so it's hard not to like him there. Outside of that, I don't have any strong takes. Gary Woodland's been very good with the ball striking lately, and he's been atrocious on and around the greens. So on these windy days, that does worry me a little bit. I don't mind Justin Suh, but if he's going to be 23% at 8,900, I mean, that's a tough pill to swallow just because he's never played here before. But the Florida results so far, T5, T24, T6.
Very good.
So, yeah. And he's a California kid. I kind of expected him to pop on the West Coast like Taylor Montgomery. We've compared these two a lot. And, Montgomery was great on the West Coast, and now Justin Suh's playing a lot better. So
there is quite literally nobody in this range that has any sort of good course history.
That's pretty crazy.
Either nothing or bad.
That is pretty crazy. And then Wyndham Clark, everybody's going to play Wyndham Clark. He's also another betting favorite this week. So I don't know what to do there. He's been playing great. The irons have been good. But typically I like him on courses where you're going to hit a lot of drivers. So I don't have a strong take on Clark.
Yeah, I'll probably end up playing one of him and Suh and choosing wrong. I haven't decided which one yet, but we'll see where right now we got Clark at lower ownership and Clark with a higher projection. So I probably lean towards him, but no, absolute must play, I think, out of that group. I do like Wu and GPPs some. He doesn't project it as well either, but don't mind. I think maybe his risk reward potential is a little higher. Griffin is going to be a little bit more popular. So I'll sprinkle in again. I mentioned I'm not playing a lot of guys in the 9K, so got to take some chances on some of the guys here that even if they don't have the best course history, we'll sprinkle a few of them in, but it only gets worse as we get into the 7Ks. So anybody else at the bottom end of this range, Moore, Poston, KH Lee, grab you?
Did Aaron Rye end up WDing?
I think so. Let's see if we can find it.
Because he played pretty well last week. Yeah, we haven't projected.
Yeah, he's out.
Okay.
Cameron Percy is in.
Ooh, Cam Percy. He's a good iron player. Doesn't do anything else very well, but yeah, he's a good iron player. Other guys in the AKs, not really. I like the course fit for Poston. He just hasn't been good lately. It's been the putter, so I guess you can make a case that turns around. He typically is a pretty good putter, but he's lost 4 straight. Yeah, I don't mind Poston.
All right, let's go ahead and head down into the 7K range where, again, it starts to get somewhat thin. Victor Perez sighting at 7,800. Johnny Vegas was about plus 1,000 last week. He was one of those guys on my snake draft squad. Just a lot of guys in here that we haven't seen a whole lot from lately. I mean, Damon, Gordon's cooled off. Pearson Cootie was kind of a trendy punt play a few weeks back. Smalley, we haven't seen a lot from lately. There's a lot of names in here, but Ben Taylor and Neesmith have been things in the past. Ryan Garrard is getting some ownership. He's kind of the chalk in here. He's one of the guys that's getting talked up a bit, but your thoughts on the 7K range?
So chat favorite Jaeger deserves a look this week. He's been playing well. Very good tee to green numbers his last 3 starts, and yeah, pretty good finishes at Players, Bay Hill, and Genesis, all really good fields. So don't mind looking at him at 78. I do like Victor Perez quite a bit. He won in, I want to say, Dubai, and he's had 4 straight top 30s over in Europe. And we've seen a lot of good European Tour players play well here in the past. So especially in the windy conditions that are forecasted, I do like him, especially if the 6% ownership holds, although he's got the lowest Vegas odds of anybody in this range. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that number go up a little bit in terms of the ownership. Don't mind Garrick Higo. I don't know if you were watching on Sunday, but he airmailed the 16th green by like 30 yards and ended up on the other side of the water. And the announcers just couldn't believe it. So he's a talented young guy. He's won on the PGA Tour. He won that, I think it was at Palmetto a couple of years ago. Other than that, I don't have a strong take. I'm okay going back to Vegas, but it doesn't look like he's going to be very low owned after his miscut.
Yeah, that surprises me a bit. But then again, not as many people played him last week, so maybe that's why. and I don't mind playing him again, but Will Gordon has been a guy I've played quite a bit during the fall swing. I think, again, guys that you got to sprinkle in some plays down here. So I don't mind him. Neesmith's got some pretty good course history. If you can ignore the recent form, the stats, off the tee and short game have been a little rough of late, but he does have some decent course history, and I'd argue some more talent than other guys in this range. So don't mind using him in some tournament builds. Not everybody, again, with this weaker field this week, there's not going to be anybody down here that checks all the boxes for you. So you've got to, or if there was somebody that checked all the boxes down here, they'd be, the massive chalk of the week. So you got to take some chances. Don't be afraid to go against the grain a little bit. Even if you're, a little uncomfortable with some of the plays yourself. I think this is an interesting week to take a shot on somebody that maybe has 2, 3, 4% ownership down here, like a Grayson Sigg or Patrick Rogers or something like that, or Bramlett. Bramlett's got a little bit more ownership, but those are the types of plays I think that can help differentiate your lineups this week. Anybody else that might be popping on your radar for tournaments down at the lower end of the 7K range?
So at 7,400, I like Pearson Cootie. Was obviously one of the better players coming out of college. Finished T14 last time we saw him at the API. And he went to school in Texas, so very comfortable in the wind, you would imagine. Probably a lot of miscut equity and probably a lot of top 10 equity there. So boomer bust guy for tournaments, I don't mind. Other than that, Eric Cole, lives in Florida. I think his home course is actually Bay Hill. He played well at the Honda, nearly won there. Played well at the Players last week. Don't mind looking there. And you mentioned Bramlett being pretty high owned. S.H. Kim, for the longest time, he was more expensive than this and more popular in better fields. His form's been really bad, but don't mind going back to him. And then Mark Hubbard, 2 things he's good at, approach play, around the green. I don't mind looking to him. He doesn't have the best course history here, but that's just what you're going to get in this price range.
Yep, nobody that's going to do everything for you. And I don't mind taking a shot on some of those guys, like I mentioned, except probably Knox at 6,900. I think I'm off of that train for now, even though he's made the last 4 cuts at this event. He's taken the dive with Brian Harmon in terms of his recent results. So I think I've got to abandon ship on Russell Knox for now. Glover's made the cut the last 4 times he's played here. Troy Merritt 8th and 27th the last 2 times he's played here, but these are all guys that are just struggling for form at the moment, and without a ton that you need to spend up on this week. Nobody above 11K. Just doesn't make sense, I don't think, to dip too much into the 6Ks. Anybody else down there that might be catching your fancy?
I think you mentioned Carl Yuan. He's right now pretty well for me, but my favorite guy is Kevin Roy. So he's only played in 10 events with shot link data, but he's number 2 in this field, strokes gained approach, and he is number 2 in this field in proximity from 175 to 200. He's only 6,300. He played pretty well at the Honda top 30 there, similar course, played pretty well in Puerto Rico. So yeah, he's my favorite punt of the week.
Well, the snake draft tonight will be awfully interesting. We're going to have to dig a little bit deeper into the players that are in this field when you compare to the, how deep we've had to go the last couple weeks. So we will get ready to set that in motion here shortly. For those of you, though, that are listening on the podcast feed, I don't think we've really got anybody else to mention. Noto, anything else before we send those folks away?
Make sure to check out Scores and Odds. We got all of our good golf bets up there, and then tons of guys providing picks for the March Madness tournament coming up. So that should be a lot of fun. And check out Scores and Odds. And good luck this week. It's gonna be a grind.
This is always a brutal time to be doing taxes because I want to be focusing on March Madness, and March Madness starts the same day this golf tournament starts, and it's just it stinks, but that's okay. We can still enjoy some good NCAA tournament games now that a lot of states have legal sports betting. I think that it'll be really entertaining for a lot of folks with March Madness and all the picks that we've got there at Scores and Odds. So feel free to check that out. And then outside of that, if you're listening on the podcast feed and you would like to tune out, you can feel free to do that now. And we'll be sure to catch you back here next week. So thanks for listening as always. For those of you that are sticking around, we're going to try to organize the snake draft. See, this has gotten so popular now that some people join in advance. And so it's hard for us to get in. One of these weeks, I'm going to have to switch it up. But there is a 12-man $5 that's at 7 of 12. Noto, can you get in there?
I'm in, and I posted the link in the chat.
All right, so I'm entry number 8. Again, it's the weekly snake draft, $5 entry on DraftKings, 12 entrants into the snake draft. I think we've been doing this since maybe the middle of January. I have yet to cash. One week I finished 4th behind Noto, who finished 3rd. I have yet to cash. So we are full, and we're both in the middle this week. I think that's pretty interesting. Most weeks we've been kind of at one tail end or the other. So I will grab the screen share here.
Big week to get a top 3 or 4 pick, I think. Man, chat's been quiet tonight. We need you guys to speak up a little.
The weaker field, is maybe some I don't know, some hangover effect.
No Dan Kramer.
My goodness. Oh, see, he didn't cash last week. It's probably
Now's your time. Now's your time, Justin.
Now's my time to cash. The door is ajar. All right, we got a few new names this week that we haven't had the past few holdovers, but I believe the first pick, Joker Depot, is a new participant. So we'll see. Would be very surprised if somebody outside of Justin Thomas goes first. That is the play.
All right, second pick will be interesting.
Yeah, pretty wide open, I think, for the next 3
Oh no,
spots.
Mr. Gerg didn't get in to defend his title.
Defending champ is out. Man, the door is real ajar. Is really ajar this week.
It's all right, Mr. Gerg. I feel you. I didn't get in last week. Take the week off. Enjoy those winnings.
All right, so good. Spieth and Burns went before me, which is good. So I can get Fitzpatrick at 4. If Patrick would have been taken, I would have had to choose between Spieth and Fleetwood, and I probably would have taken Tommy. So,
all right, I'm cool with Fleetwood or Keegan. Oh, there goes one.
Yeah, if Keegan goes, then you're in a real tough spot. See if Jay Hopwood, another new face. Welcome if you happen to be watching and playing. He's really thinking about whether he wants to take Keegan from you.
Just auto pick Rose.
Auto pick Rose. That's what you're hoping for. He might not be here. Might have joined 30 minutes ago and doesn't realize he's on live YouTube. Davis Riley. Interesting. Going 6.
I like it.
There, you got Keegan, so you can rest a little easy there. We'll get into after round 1. We'll already be into guys who are were 7K last week.
So Keegan Bradley this week, 25-1 his outright odds, and he's 40-1 first round leader. I think he's got a much better chance finishing first after the day 1, don't you?
Well, if the trends are any indication, I mean, is that I've never seen somebody with first round history like that.
I mean, and
he's
like that a lot though. He always
this is true. He just in general, it tends to start well and always tends to play better in the first round compared to the second. But I don't know. It's just weird. Brian Harmon, first round pick.
Good luck. He made the cut last week, but it was all putting and off the tee. Man, round 2, it's already getting ugly.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those weeks here. So let's see. We get who Gary Woodland goes right there. Now we're on pick 15. My phone keeps buzzing to tell me it's my pick. All right, Wyndham Clark goes 15th. Ben Griffin goes 16th.
That's who I was going to go for.
Yikes.
See, so they don't have Aaron Reyes out on here.
They do not, but it was posted that he removed his name from the field. Which seems weird. Usually DraftKings is on top of that with the golf. Did you take Victor Perez?
I did.
Yeah, somebody's definitely going to get hit with Aaron Rye without that out tag for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Rob Bolden's the guy I always go to for in-outs. Yep, and he's got Aaron Rye out.
Brandon Wu.
Who you like for the tournament?
Hang on, I gotta find somebody to pick here, and it's gonna be Rye if I don't get my act together. It's KH Lee done lately. That's not great either. Well, I think I'm gonna
Jaeger bomb.
I'm gonna take a shot on Vegas not being as bad as he was last week. Can't be Rye. Don't know if I trust Benny on short game here. It's going to get really interesting as we get down into the further rounds. Not a whole lot separating guys. That'll be like the next 15 or 20 picks for sure.
You're going to feel so good about your team. You're going to take Rye with your last pick just to.
He'll be gone by then. Although I don't know. Yeah, there he goes.
He's gone. Okay.
Well, the good news is you get a bench spot.
I'm surprised Jaeger's still there. What about Ludwig?
Yeah, that's what I was. You know much about him?
#1 amateur right now. He played, what event was it? API?
He played the Arnold Palmer.
And he was pretty good, but it was like 7 strokes putting, I think, he gained. So I typically like to take a wait-and-see approach with these amateurs.
Yeah. There goes Joel Damon. I mean, I'm just going for hopefully some ceiling, and we don't get a couple of 3 or 4 missed cuts out of this group, and maybe we can get a couple top 10s. So right now I'm at probably Higo or Cootie. Will
Akshay
Gordon
almost won in Puerto Rico. Did you see he took his shirt off and hit the shot from the water?
Yes, I did.
That was
He was all over the place that tournament. All right, do we go for Higo or do we go for Cootie?
I like them both.
What's that?
I like them both.
Well, Cootie's ranked lower, but he's not going to make it back to me anyway, so we're going to go there.
Will Gordon. Will Gordon's going to have a 68 and a 79.
And an 80.
That guy. Is he better on easy courses? Is that what we just assume?
Yeah, I mean, because there's not as much trouble. I mean, he's going to make birdies. So, yeah, I tend to play him on the easy courses.
Yeah.
Right, those easier fall swing events are the ones that he tended to play better at.
Glad we didn't fall for the web trap last week.
Yeah, that was definitely a trap. All right. So Fitzpatrick, Vegas, Cootie for me, Bradley, Perez, Higo for Noto. I almost took Higo. That'll probably be the difference now. Higo over Cootie will probably be the reason I don't cash when it comes to the end of the week.
Higo will make a birdie on his final hole, and I'll get third.
That'd be good content, though, because eventually, once I cash in one of these, then I can't use that as the shtick every week. What do we got? 40 golf tournaments a year at $5. I'm going to be down a couple $100 by December here.
Tax write-off. It's great. Offset all of our winnings that were for the main slates. I can't get 6 of 6 to save my life. I don't know. Every week it's one guy.
And last week that was?
Corey Connors.
Oh, that's
Corey Connors on one lineup, Keegan Bradley on the other.
This is the week. All right, you're up again in round 4 here.
All right, I'm going to go Neesmith. He's been bad.
Yeah, I don't mind
good course history, good long iron guy.
Yeah, I like him this week. He'll be a cornerstone of my GPP article when I write that up tomorrow. I like that call. All right, now it's going to be back to me. And look, if Taco Shark takes Will Gordon right out from underneath my nose. All right, we'll go with Bramlett.
Molinax has been playing better.
He's always a guy with a sneaky little upside there. As we finish up the 4th round here, we'll have 3 rounds of very interesting names to go here down the stretch.
Yeah, Ryan Gerard, is he?
I don't know. Why is he so chalky? He got talked. He had to have gotten talked up somewhere.
I know he played well a couple weeks ago. He must be a Corn Ferry Tour guy. Let me see his.
I can bring up his profile here too.
Okay,
yeah, 11th in Puerto Rico, 4th at the Honda, and good Corn Ferry results.
Yeah, T3. So yeah, last 3 starts, all top 12s.
And the 4th the 4th place finish was after he Monday qualified.
He's been playing in Canada too, the Canadian Tour.
Hot golf is hot golf wherever you're playing.
Yeah, this field, definitely.
Oh, it's my turn. Well, I'm going to take him because we're talking about him. That's destiny right there.
All right. Hold on one sec. Let me.
Crispy.
Noto's got to help her. He's got to make the pick for you.
Yeah, he's playing some Minecraft, and a wolf got red eyes, so he had to come tell me. He hit the wolf. No, I always tell him only come down if you absolutely need to. So the wolf with red eyes was a must.
That's absolutely that's a necessity. It is your turn, just as an FYI.
Did somebody take? Oh, somebody took Hubbard. Okay.
Yeah, it was a few picks ago. It was while you were getting wolfed over there.
Lucas, what could go wrong?
Everything. Everything could go wrong.
He might lead the field in ball striking and miss the cut.
That was Tony Finau for me a few weeks ago when he
Producer
was first.
Steve is a fan of Minecraft. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, that's all right. Our oldest got into that for a little bit. Now they're into Roblox, and that's over my head. I just don't have time at this time of year to try to figure out what the heck they're doing. But as long as they're not getting themselves in trouble, that's fine, I guess.
Yeah, I feel so old. I'm like just trying to keep up with what he's doing and no idea.
All the things, man, you can get. I should have had my kids doing, toy reviews on YouTube 5 years ago, and I would be able to retire. But alas,
we'd have to find a new host for this show. That'd be sad.
No, I'm here. Can win the lottery tomorrow. Still show up for the golf. Who are we going to take here in these last couple rounds? This is going to get ugly.
See, this is where we find our sleepers, thanks to Dan. But
Dan's not here. Maybe that's why it's just so unsettling.
Oh, I got to take Kevin Roy if he's there. Best approach, unless he's already gone. He's way down he's like 6,300.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, he's there.
114.
What's he been up to?
Not much for a lot of these guys.
Cam Young at 77. All right, let's go on with Roy.
I'm trying to figure out who I'm going to take in 2 picks.
Oh, Cam Champ's here. Cam Champ?
What happened to that guy? 5 missed cuts and a 53rd since November. That doesn't inspire much confidence.
He plays well at the, the 3M? And the Masters. 3M and the Masters, he plays well. Oh, Doug Gim's still available. That always played Doug Gim at the...
I'm not taking Doug Gim.
At the Players. That didn't work out too well last week.
Dylan Wu. All right. He's made the cut 4 straight times at this tournament, and he made the cut last week. That's enough to send me on Lucas Glover.
Oh, I thought you were going double Wu. Don't you have Brandon Wu too?
I do not. I have no Wu.
No Wu.
Only sadness. No Wu. Let's see. We got to see if somebody's got double Wu. Nope. No double Wu. Taco Shark has Dylan Wu, and Jay Hopwood has Brandon Wu. Okay, Charlie Hoffman sighting here as we finish round 6 and start the final round of whatever we want to make of the rest of this field. I got to find another guy here. Resting on my laurels, having found Lucas Glover. While Nadi's missed 3 cuts in a row. Justin Lower's been a thing. He's missed 3 cuts in a row. Ryan Armour.
Is Garnett still there? He always plays well in these courses.
Ryan Armour's been horrible. Oh, now it's my turn, and I have not found a guy. Chad Ramey, 27th last week. Just got to take one of these guys. I'll take Harry Hall. Decent results.
Is he the one that got the hole-in-one, or is that somebody else?
Last week?
Yeah, I think it was somebody else, and then he missed the cut. Round 1.
Who was
it was
that?
like the second group out on Thursday.
Smalley? No.
Smalley got one on Sunday.
No, Smalley was on the weekend.
And Rye got one on Saturday. I can't
Yeah.
remember. Buckley. It was Buckley.
Oh, that's right. Yep, that was it.
Then he was like 4 under after 9 and missed the cut. That course is wild. Impossible to predict.
Yeah, never safe. Never safe.
All right, who was I just talking about? Garnett. I'll take Garnett. All right. Lineup secured.
Yeah, we're done. Lineup secure. Fitz, Vegas, Cootie, Bramlett, Gerard, Glover, and Harry Hall. God, that's awful. I felt good last weekend and I did terrible. Well, I guess they all kind of look bad this week. Nature of the beast with a 12-person snake draft on a weaker field event.
All right, who's your pick to win the NCAA tournament?
So I don't follow it as close as I used to. Just after having kids and stuff, I used to watch. That was most of what I would watch, like during the week and stuff when I had free time. Don't have as much these days, so I haven't followed college basketball as close as I did, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But just from the sense I get, it feels really wide open this year because none of the number 1 seeds are dominant. You've got, Alabama's got stories surrounding one of their players being involved in a murder. Houston's top player has been hurt. Purdue has had a letdown in some bad spots, and Kansas is a 1 seed and they've lost 7 games. So just feels like this is the year. I don't know who it's going to be, but it feels like this is the year where you could see like a 4 seed or a 5 seed, like make a run and just, a team that was maybe playing well down the stretch. And I'm absolutely not a Duke guy, but it wouldn't surprise me if this is the year that, you see Duke randomly make a run when nobody is expecting it. And, their new coach and all that stuff. So official pick is I'm going to take some shots on some 3, 4, 5 seeds for like some outright betting. And one of them is definitely going to be Duke and they're a 5, I believe. So don't bet the favorites this year. That's my advice.
Yeah, I like that call. I could see them losing in the first round too.
I could too. I could see them losing in the first round, and I could see them, making a run. But I'm going to find they were my first one, but I'm going to find 3 or 4 teams that are in like that 3, 4, 5, 6 seed range, I think, to bet and give myself a sweat there.
Well, I really like Memphis, but they kind of had a tough draw first round. Florida Atlantic's been awesome. And then if they could beat Purdue, though. And then I like UCLA as my team to win.
Yeah, so Memphis that's an 8-9. Yeah. So it's gonna be wide open this year. Don't be the person that picks all 4 of the number 1 seeds in your bracket because that's no fun, and you don't want to be that person anyway. This is not going to be the year, so watch it happen. This will be the year where all the ones make it. But throw some shots on a few longer shots, and I got to see now if I can pull this up real quick. I know the draft is probably done, and I've still got that up in the background, but. So let me go to, there's so many different screens of futures. There we go. Okay, so tournament winner, and these odds might be slightly different because I can't bet on Illinois schools in Illinois, but there's not like any of them are favored. So UCLA's 10-1. Like UConn is 18, Duke is 35. Noto's dark horse Memphis at 80-1 if you want to get, but somebody like that, like I'm going to take a shot on a few teams that are in that 35 to 50-1 range. Hopefully like one of them makes the Final Four and gives me a sweat there on that final week, but always fun with March Madness for sure. All right.
Yeah.
Let's back to the draft. We're done. Draft is done.
We're done.
All right. With that, we'll get out of here. I appreciate you all checking us out as always. And those of you who joined in on the draft, thank you and good luck. And for Noto, for our producer, Steve, working hard behind the scenes for us on a Monday night. We thank everybody for tuning in. I am Justin. Have a great week, everybody. We'll catch you back here next week. Same time, same place. See you later.